My name is Josh, and I suffer from insomnia. I discovered that a good remedy for it is taking a nighttime walk. My area has a beautiful natural park about a 15-minute walk away. After walking in the park for about an hour, past midnight, my mind would usually clear, and I could get a few hours of sleep for the rest of the night. I never encountered anything strange or saw anyone else, except for an odd deer. I had never found anything that could scare me until 3 nights ago when I stumbled upon a trail that I could swear never existed before. I checked my phone, 1:15 a.m. I had some spare time and I was off work in the morning, so I decided, what the heck, I might as well see where this trail leads. The dirt path was quite compact, indicating it had been used. I struggled with the darkness and tall grass to stay on track. I didn't like using my phone's flashlight to avoid attracting unwanted attention, but I deemed it necessary this time. The trail led to the swampy part of the park. I could see the reflection of my flashlight bouncing off the water. I didn't want to go too far in, assuming the trail would soon return to a main path. I kept going, listening to the chirping insects that called this park their home. After about 5 minutes on this unfamiliar trail, I started hearing something faint in the distance. It was the sound of someone sobbing. No one could be here at this hour, or at least they shouldn't be. My instincts told me to run toward the sobs. Someone might be in danger, and I didn't hear anyone else. "Hey, are you okay?" I shouted as I closed in on the sound. I didn't even realize I had strayed off the path. I let the sobs guide me. I found myself in a small clearing in the swampy woods when I realized the person crying was probably 10 yards away from me. Dark trees loomed over me, and instead of comfort, I felt only dread. I stopped and waited for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. I was right. On the other side of the clearing, there was someone. It was difficult to distinguish the details, but it seemed to be someone in a dress. They were facing away from me, as I could see the prominent arch of their back bent forward. The sobbing subsided into a soft whimper. "Are you okay?" I asked gently. "What are you doing here?" No response except for the whimpering. I realized my phone's flashlight had turned off. I took a few slow steps and checked my phone before turning on the flashlight. 1:30. Then I turned on the flashlight. It was someone in what seemed to be a tattered wedding dress. I saw long hair. A bride? I shuddered and took a step closer. She turned her head back to me, where I could see pure white eyes, and her hair was missing in patches. Her body began to crack and contort before she screamed at me. I don't remember how I got back to the trail, but I ran for my life. All the while, I could hear her sobbing and whimpering as if she was right in my ear. I stopped outside the park to catch my breath briefly, before I heard the screams I heard when I looked at her. I didn't have much time, but I was almost home. Squeezed everywhere, soaked and exhausted, I made it home. I didn't make a subtle arrival when I slammed the door behind me. Lily, my fiancée, was out of town for the weekend, so I didn't scare anyone. I immediately locked the doors and closed the windows. I didn't sleep that night. When I mustered the courage to look outside, the sun was already rising. I didn't want to scare anyone I knew by telling them what I saw. What the hell? They would probably attribute it to sleep deprivation anyway. And now I'm dealing with something worse, and I don't know what to do. The next night, I managed to fall asleep before midnight. I I didn't want to go for a late-night walk anyway. Not having slept the previous night, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Although that small achievement didn't last long because something woke me up. The same sobbing sound. It sounded like it was on the other side of the street from my house. Then I heard something else. It sounded like something wet hitting my door, not on the other side of the street, but in front of my door. I wasn't trying to confront whatever was outside. I just wanted it to leave me alone. I could hear the sobs and whimpering outside while I silently checked my phone. 1:30 a.m. The sounds persisted for about 10 minutes before seemingly fading away. I struggled to fall back asleep, but somehow managed to. A part of me wanted to believe it was a bad dream, but it wasn't. The nightmare was persistent. The next morning, I checked the front door and cried out in surprise. At the doorstep was a human heart. I called the police immediately and an investigation was underway. Officer Bendrick was on the case. He was the best and had the town's respect. They took the heart with them, and I called Lily and explained the situation to her. She seemed shocked but didn't think I was a serial killer. So that's a relief. Lily returned later that evening, and folks, I was glad not to be alone, but I was still very nervous. An hour after her return, the doorbell rang. Initially, I protested answering it until I heard one of the friendly neighborhood grandmas calling us. Lily answered the door, and our lovely neighbor informed us that another neighbor had died of a heart attack last night. I was sweating profusely at the kitchen table as Lily offered her condolences to our neighbor. Later, Lily insisted it was just a coincidence. But how? I started shaking, and Lily held me, supporting me. That night, we both dragged ourselves to bed and fell asleep. I was awakened by Lily. The first thing I did was check my phone. 1:30 a.m. Damn. I could hear the sobs outside, and clearly Lily heard them too, as her eyes were wide with fear as the sobs approached the front door. We both had a lump in our throats as we heard the noise of something falling at the doorstep. Lily insisted on calling the police, but I didn't want to move or make noise. What if that thing hurt the officers? I know it wasn't logical, but I didn't want to put more people at risk. Neither of us slept that night. Lily checked the door in the morning and came back crying and freaking out. Another human heart was on the doorstep. We called the police again. A different officer was there this time, and I expected to see Bendrick, as this officer was much more reserved and cold. I asked about Bendrick, and the officer kept evading my questions. It didn't take long for it to come out in the news. Officer Bendrick had died in his sleep from heart failure. He was perfectly healthy. That thing must have killed him. The people I know around me are starting to die. My insomnia has only gotten worse, and it's only a matter of time before someone like Lily or my neighbors ends up dead with a heart on my doorstep.